This is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's episode of the Passion to Profits podcast. Now, in today's podcast episode, I want to ask you a question, and it's probably a question that you don't want to face. You don't want to tackle this question because it's going to be difficult. What's the question? Why are you living a life that you don't want? Now, there may be parts of your life that you don't like, parts of your life that you'd like to change, or maybe all of your life. You just like to completely change everything. And we tell everybody that we would like to make changes in our life, but we don't do it. You know, it's like having a conversation with a friend who says, well, you know something, from tomorrow onwards, that's it. No more junk food. Tomorrow onwards, I am going to start jogging. I'm going to go to the gym. Or maybe they say to you, well, I'm planning on writing a book. Or maybe I'm planning to go on a long holiday. You know, I'm going to build an online business that's going to give me financial freedom, and we are going to start on Monday morning. Now, we are not along with those people, but in our heads, we know the opposite is true. You know for a fact that if they do train, it's going to be for a day or two, and then the runners are going to be thrown in the cupboard and never looked at again. If they do plan on writing a book, they'll probably just write a few lines, and that's as far as it's going to go. And as for building this huge online business and the financial freedom, well, you know for a fact that the first little bit of discomfort, the first thing that's challenging for them, they're just going to toss it away, and they're not going to do it. And it's very easy for us to look at other people, and we can see their downfalls. We can see the lies that they tell themselves. But in our own case, we are our own greatest liars. We are so great at lying to ourselves that we don't actually see the lies for what they are. We believe that they're true. So that's what I want to tackle in this podcast episode, is shining a light on the lies that we tell ourselves, telling ourselves that we want a different life, and then we don't make any changes to it. Now, the first thing I'd say to you is, if you want to change your life, it's going to involve changing your actions. You know, if you wanted to go to your local town or your local city, what you'd need to do is you'd need to take actions that would take you in the direction of that town or that city. Now, if you sit at home and you don't get in the car, you don't drive off your driveway, if you don't drive in the directions of the town or the city, you know for a fact that you're not going to get there. And so it is with the thing that you would like to do. It's going to involve you taking actions, and taking actions that are going to send you in the direction of where you want to go to. You know, if you want to write a book, you know that you're not going to have a completed book until you actually sit down every day and do some writing. But we stupidly believe that for some reason, some magical moment, as if, you know, maybe the Disney godmother is going to appear out of nowhere, just wave her magic wand and then give us the life that we want. Or that we believe that at some point in the future, everything's going to be rosy, everything's going to be perfect, and we are going to be able to go after the life that we want at some point in the future. And what we do is we just kick that can down the road, hoping that eventually that all our stars line up, or that we'll get the confidence to take action, and eventually our life will change. Now, that's a lie. And it's a lie that you know is never going to happen. So what you need to realize is, and wake up to the fact that if you want your life to go in a certain direction, you need to change the actions that you're taking. You need to start taking the actions that the person would take to get to that goal or that dream. Another thing you need to realize is that comfort, where you are right now, is probably the reason that you don't make any changes. That even though maybe you don't like maybe your income, where you're living, maybe your health, or what's happening in your life, even though you don't like those things are comfortable. You know, it's very easy for us just to give up a bit the extra weight that we're carrying. But it's comfortable not to make any changes. It's comfortable still to eat junk food. It's comfortable not to go for a run. It's comfortable not to put any actions into place because it involves no changes. And while it's comfortable to stay in the position that we're in, we're miserable. And you're going to find that we stupidly believe that this comfort zone that we're in is always going to be rosy. It's always going to be perfect. But you know for a fact, going back to the weight, if you don't make any changes to the actions to solve your weight problem, you're probably going to find maybe you might get diabetes. You might find that maybe your mobility is affected. You might find that maybe you'll shorten your life. And even though it feels comfortable to stay where you are, that comfort point is going to take you to a place that is not very comfortable. And what you need to realize is you need to flip it the other way. And you need to realize that by taking actions that are uncomfortable, it's going to lead you to a comfortable place. Because it's going to be uncomfortable to sit down and record a video. It's going to be uncomfortable to sit down and write some books, do something you've never done before. It's going to be uncomfortable to do that. But if you continue doing it, it's going to bring you to a comfortable place. You're going to have all the books completed. You're going to have a huge audience in social media. You're going to start making money online. And that's going to be comfortable. But you need to go through the uncomfortable phase to get to the comfortable phase. But again, most of us don't think about that. We just like running things along as they are, not making any changes because it's comfortable. But as I said, these comfort zones that we're in usually lead us to bad places. And maybe just to not get to that bad place, what you probably need to do today is start doing things uncomfortable so that you get to a place that you want to get to. Now, what I'd say to you as well too is another reason why we don't actually probably live the lives that we want to live is because we live on autopilot. You know, you can be guaranteed that when you get out of bed this morning, you probably did the exact same actions you did yesterday and the day before and the day before. And what we do is we're almost like a programmed robot that we don't even need to think anymore. We just go through our daily living. You know, we get out of bed at a certain time, we brush our teeth a certain way, we have maybe a cup of coffee or whatever breakfast that we always had. We get in the car at the exact same time, we drive the same route to work, and everything is just complete autopilot. Now, you can be guaranteed that if you're not paying attention and giving some conscious thought to what you're doing every day, you can be guaranteed that this autopilot lane that you're on is going to keep you where you are. So what you need to do is you need to mentally take control and switch off the autopilot and then start taking actions that you should be taking that are going to bring you to where you want to get to. But some of us don't actually think about that. We just, again, going back to the comfortable thing of doing the same things every day, you know, it's very easy to do that. And a lot of us go from kind of cradle to grave, living on autopilot. We never really have an original thought. We never kind of divert off the path that we're on, unless maybe something drastic comes along. Maybe we have a health issue. Maybe we have a money problem. Maybe we have a relationship problem, or something is kind of thrown a spanner in the works. And then all of a sudden, this autopilot life that we have, we realize that changes need to be made. So what you need to do is you need to switch off the autopilot. You need to take control of the steering wheel of your life and then realize that if you want to get to where you want to get to, you are going to have to start taking new actions. And these actions in the beginning will be uncomfortable. There will be things that you won't like doing. You will find that it's very easy just to kind of stop taking those actions and go back on autopilot. But you will find that if you stick with the new actions long enough, they will eventually become part of your autopilot. You'll find that you'll be able to sit down every day and record a video. You'll be able to sit down every day and do some writing, create a digital product, or do the actions that you need to do to get to where you want to get to. Those will become something that will become part of your autopilot. But until then, you'll need to actually grab the wheel and steer your life and your actions in the direction that you want to go to. Now, another reason why you probably are afraid of disrupting your life is because there's a fear of disruption. You know, if you're about to do something new, maybe making videos right now, you can be guaranteed that that is going to throw a big spanner in the works. You're going to realize that, you know something, it's going to disrupt my day. It means I'll need to find time in my day to make these videos. It'll mean that I'll probably put myself in situations where I'll probably fail. I'll probably embarrass myself on camera. I'll probably get some maybe bad comments. Someone will just, take the piss out of me from the way I look, the way I sound, or what my videos are like. So that is open you up to a whole kind of, a big thing of disruption. And again, we don't like to do that. We just want to kind of crawl back into a little safe space, our little comfort zone, where there is as little disruption as possible. But going back to the comfort zone, you're going to be guaranteed that you need to face disruption. And by facing disruption, it's going to bring you to the life that you want to get to. So be aware that whatever you're about to do, it's going to take up time. It's going to take up effort. It's probably going to be frustrating in the beginning because most things are hard in the beginning until they get easier. But you're going to find that that is just going to mix up everything in your life. You're going to have to challenge yourself to find time in your day to record your videos. You're going to have to ignore those people who are just trying to bring you down. You're going to have to, stay committed, keep persistent to get to where you want to get to. So be aware that whatever you're looking to do, it's going to cause a disruption. And if you're not willing to lean into that and to find time in your day, be willing to step out into failure, be willing to embarrass yourself, be willing to do something consistently, well then I'm afraid your life's not going to change. So maybe you would be better off staying on autopilot. But if you do want your life to change, you're going to have to make some changes. Now what I'd say to you as well too is that when it comes to changing our lives, sometimes a reason why we kind of go on autopilot is because of our mental programming. We, again, going back to a thing that I mentioned here many times, I think school is the biggest thing that messed us up as adults. Because when we came out of school, we felt limited. We felt stupid. We felt that we were a certain grade of a person, and because we are a certain grade of a person, it meant all those opportunities that we would like to do are out of our hands. If you didn't do well in English, you might say to yourself, well, I can never be a writer because I was never good at school. Or maybe because you goofed up one day giving a presentation in school, that stuck with you, and the grade of that bad presentation stuck with you, and because of that, you're afraid to make videos. So we kind of, look back at our past life, look back at all the things that went wrong, remember all the conversations that were said about us, that we weren't very clever, that we maybe wouldn't amount to anything, that we weren't suited to do the thing that we wanted to do. And what we do is we allow these little conversations, all the limiting beliefs, to stop us from doing what we want to do. Now in the beginning, going back to when I wrote my first Kindle book, one of the reasons I didn't write for a long time was because I didn't do well at English. There was no great grades on my exam papers. I never thought I was any good at English. No one ever said to me, Barry, you know something, you should be a writer. And because I'd never done any of that, and because I had a lot of negative programming where I had no belief in myself, I had no confidence in myself, and I didn't think that I could do any of these things. And again, the fear of disruption. I was about to do something that was going to lead to failure probably. It was going to lead to embarrassment. It was going to be probably public humiliation. And because of that, I didn't want to do it. So you need to have a look at all this kind of negativity, all the past programming in your head, and you need to question it. You need to look at the limiting thoughts where you might say, well, I'd like to make videos, but I can't make videos because. Now, usually the because or the but is usually something that's wrong about us. Before I started writing fiction, I didn't think I could write fiction. But right now, I've written fiction. I've made loads of videos. I have done loads of podcast episodes. I have made money online. And those at one point were something that I thought was outside my wheelhouse and was something that I couldn't do. And you need to look at that limiting belief and you need to question it. You need to pull it apart. You need to look at it and you say, well, why do I think this about myself? Is it because of something somebody said years ago? Is it really true? Have I even tested this limiting belief to see, can I write a book? Can I make a video? Could I make money online? And a lot of times we don't. We don't actually push our limiting beliefs, question them, pull them apart, or actually just go all in and see, is it really true? So what you need to do is you need to have a look at the limiting beliefs that are probably stopping you from living the life that you want to live. Now, what you need to do is you need to take action, because you're not going to get anywhere unless you take action. This idea, this fantasy of this wonderful life of you, with a laptop, working on the beach, or maybe having a huge mansion or beautiful car, beautiful family, all the beautiful things, is not going to come about until you take action. Now, as I said here many times in this podcast, if you want to take this in your head into the real world, you need to take real action, because it's not going to happen unless you take action. And what you need to realize as well too is that when it comes to actions, not all actions are equal. You need to realize that what you need to do is you need to focus on the actions that are going to give you the most work for your effort. Now, what I could do is for example, just to explain this, I could take two different actions. Now, if I've got a blog, what I could probably do is I could play around my blog today. I could change the colors on it. I could change the font on it. I could change the graphic in the header. I could make all those small changes. Now that would be an action. But is that action bringing me closer to where I want to get to? Now, do you not think a better action for me to take would be to actually write a blog post or maybe make a video? And I'm sure you can see that a blog post is going to be a lot better for me, getting me to the life that I want instead of just playing around with the small stuff. Again, if you want to lose weight, you can go to Amazon today, you can look at all the wonderful trainers and you can pick one, you can order it, but is that going to make you lose weight? A better action that you could take today is just getting out without the trainers, putting on a pair of comfortable shoes and going for a walk. So be aware that when you are looking to get to where you want to get to, and maybe if you are limited in time, maybe you've got a lot going on in your day to actually work on this ideal life that you want to have. So if you find that you are limited in your time, what you need to do is you need to look at the possible actions that you could take and then ask yourself, well, of all these actions, which one is going to give me the biggest bang for my buck? Playing around with the font on my blog or actually writing a blog post, making a video. And you're going to find that some actions have far more value for you. And that is where you want to get to, because these actions with the larger, resulting effort are going to get to where you want to get to faster. I can talk all day here at home about recording a podcast episode of all the different things I'm going to talk in this episode, and that's as far as I can get. But the fact that you are actually watching me in this podcast episode and listening to me is because I have taken massive action on what I wanted to do today, and that's why the content is here. Now, there's other things I could be doing right now. I could be, playing around with fonts, changing colors on my website and doing all the kind of Mickey Mouse stuff. That's not going to take me anywhere. But I know for a fact, by me recording an episode like this, by me making a video like this, it's going to be a lot more better for me and my time. It's going to move the needle in a bigger direction than all that kind of Mickey Mouse stuff. So again, what I want to do is I want you to kind of burst the bubble that you have right now, because we all have these bubbles. We're all our own worst enemies. We are so good at a liar that we have convinced ourselves that we, at one point, will have the life that we want to have without making any changes, without getting inside our comfort zone, without any disruption, and we believe it's going to happen at some magical point in the future. But you know for a fact, if you're really, really honest with yourself, that where you are right now has been brought about by you probably living on autopilot, and if it's not, because of maybe some other situation that has put you there, the reason that you are continuing to stay where you are is because you're not making any changes. Because your life is only going to change when you make changes. Things aren't going to change unless things change. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I hope maybe it woke you up from the nonsense that you're telling yourself, because we all do it. I know I did it. But hopefully this podcast episode has woken you up. And if you have any comments, or if you have any aha moments, or if you would just like to reach out, certainly leave a comment below this podcast episode. And as always, have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.